How many years off my life is carnivore going to take, supposedly, from having high cholesterol? Kerry here from Homestead How. I just hit day 85 of being a carnivore. I feel amazing. It's just getting better and better. And every Tuesday I've been doing a little update video, and I'm gonna just riff here. I'm just gonna talk and tell you how I feel. And in today's video, I wanna tell you, carnivore diet, is it going to kill me? Am I going to die because of this diet? And if so, when? How many years off of my life is carnivore going to take? Because that's been one of the things I keep hearing over and over again. So to update you quickly, on day 85, I've lost over 40 pounds, but I don't care about any of the weight. Prior to carnivore, I had very bad depression and anxiety. I don't have an inkling of any of that anymore. The worst part for me was my sleep and arthritis. I had arthritis in my lower back, in both of my elbows, and I had it horribly in my toe. It was so bad, I saw 3 different foot specialists. I had so much arthritis in my toe, I could barely walk. It felt like I was stepping down on a fractured bone. And I went in, I had an MRI, and the guy's like, this is just full of arthritis. There's so much pressure in there, and you're going to need to have surgery. That was the next step. And on day 85 of carnivore, it's almost completely gone. Every now and then I'll feel a little tinge. I'll say it is 97% better. It's amazing. Last year, I could barely walk. I wasn't doing anything. Projects around the homestead, going out like golfing or anything fun like that. Quick segue, speaking of doing things fun, this is something I never would have done last year. Jen and I did this just yesterday, and I gotta show you what we spotted. It worked! I can't believe that worked. Oh, look, 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 look. Look to the left, look to the left. Didn't do any of that because it hurt so bad. It's been amazing. I stopped snoring on carnivore. I was on a CPAP machine. I know you guys are like, this dude has a bunch of problems, but I was on a CPAP machine. I went into the sleep study. I would wake up multiple times throughout the night, and I stopped snoring on carnivore. I haven't snored in 85 days. My wife can attest to that because she used to just kind of punch me in the back, tell me to roll over and shut up because I was snoring like a chainsaw. No snoring, and beyond that, I just feel amazing. So I wake up relaxed, rejuvenated. I'm ready for the day. I feel so good every day. My mood's been so much better, and I attribute that to my sleep. I haven't been sick in 85 days. I get seasonal allergies. A couple weeks ago, I was mowing the lawn, and there was yellow pollen all over everything. And this time of the year, for the last 8 years, I would always get horrible allergies. My face would puff up, my eyes would get all red. This year, no mask, nothing, no allergies. First time in 8 years, no allergies. My sense of smell also came back. I know, this sounds crazy. This is all true. My gum health has been another one. I went into the dentist. The person cleaning my teeth said, your gums look so healthy. She was telling me everyone she sees, their gums are usually bloody, and that's a big sign of inflammation. You deserve to live without inflammation. I didn't know what it was like because my entire life, as far as I can remember, I walked around with this inflammation. Before carnivore, I walked around in a brain fog. I was slurring and stumbling for my words like a stroke victim. I was like, I could never think of my words. And that's gone. The inflammation is gone. And if you're living with inflammation your entire life, you're in that fog. And you can't see the fog until you get out of the fog. It's impossible to describe to people unless you've tried it and you're a carnivore, then you're probably nodding your head and agreeing with me. But once you get out of that fog and you feel what it's like to live with no inflammation in your body, it's amazing. It's the best thing ever. So all these things have changed on carnivore, but I'm still gonna die from carnivore, right? Well, that's what everyone's telling me, and that's what I've been told my whole life. You can't eat just meat, you're gonna die of a heart attack. What's your cholesterol number? I keep hearing that from people, and I thank these people because they're scared. That's why they ask that question, and rightfully so, because our entire lives we've been told, if you eat a lot of red meat, you're gonna die of a heart attack. If your cholesterol numbers are bad, you're at risk for a heart attack or heart disease, and you're gonna die of a heart attack. I've had people in my personal life come up to me and say, you look amazing, you've lost all this weight. And I tell them, the first thing I say is, yeah, the weight loss is gain, I know you can see that, but what you're not seeing is even better. The fact that I'm sleeping better, the fact that brain fog's gone, the fact that I don't have any inflammation, and I have so much more energy than I did before, and the biggest thing, my arthritis is gone. I also had other symptoms too I didn't even mention before. Irritable bowel syndrome, diagnosed with IBS. Told to go on the low FODMAP diet. I had pills for acid reflux. I have no acid reflux. I don't need those pills. The funny thing with all these issues I had before was it was pill after pill after pill. And it's like, why do I keep having refills on these pills? Shouldn't the pill just work and fix the problem? Carnivore did. I don't need to take a pill on carnivore for acid reflux. I have no acid reflux. I don't need to take a pill on carnivore for my arthritis. It's just completely gone. I don't have to worry about it anymore. So back to my earlier statement, a lot of people in my personal life have said, you lost all this weight, that's great, but I want to see your numbers. When are you getting your numbers? I've heard this multiple times from people offline and online. And I thank these people because they care about me and they're worried and they've been told their whole life, your LDL, your cholesterol number, that's going to be high, you're going to die. This is great, you're having all these other things, but you should go back to what you were doing before because your cholesterol number is going to go through the roof eating that much meat and you're going to die. I hear that from people online. Yesterday I had 4 or 5 comments online. Yeah, that's all great and well, but what's your cholesterol at? That's wonderful, but I want to know what your LDL is at. So I hear it over and over again. And I wanted to address this, and I want to know the numbers. I want to know how many years off my life is carnivore going to take, supposedly, from having high cholesterol. A lot of that was based on a study, and it was a study where they asked people, what do you eat? So it's a flawed study right there, because people lie and they don't tell the truth. But let me say this to you. If I asked you, what do you eat? And you answered, yeah, I eat a lot of red meat. And then they noticed in the study, well, those people that ate that red meat also had a lot of heart disease. Now their conclusion is red meat causes heart disease. Well, that's just so flawed if you really think about it. And let me explain why. First of all, red meat has been demonized for decades. And if those people are saying, screw it, I eat red meat. Well, what other risky behaviors are they taking besides eating the red meat? Like smoking, drinking, eating a bunch of other junk food and sweets and donuts and candy and birthday cakes? Probably, but none of those things are getting blamed. It's just the red meat. Second, if someone eats a lot of red meat, what's the #1 thing consumed in the world? Hamburgers. They don't even have room. Remember on McDonald's, they used to have the little sign, like 32 million burgers served? Well, what's a hamburger? Are people going to McDonald's like me, a carnivore, and eating a hamburger like I would? Just the meat? Of course they're not. None of them were. None of the people in that study were. They would go to McDonald's and they would eat a hamburger and it would have sugary ketchup all over it. It'd have that slice of just purely processed garbage cheese. It would have a big carby bun on the top of it. And what does everybody eat with a hamburger? Would you like fries with that? Everybody eats fries with a hamburger. And so when they're asking these people, do you eat red meat? Well, what about the French fries? And then, by the way, after that, what do? They go get an ice cream. And they eat ice cream, or they have some dessert or some sweets or candy because an hour later their blood sugar is going up and down and they're going to have these crazy cravings. How come the French fries aren't demonized? Just the meat is. Why is that? Why aren't French fries causing it, or deep fried birthday cake, donuts causing it? They never mention that. They just say, oh, you ate meat, you had heart disease, therefore you're this. I think there's a deficiency in cholesterol in the world right now. That's why so many men are getting testosterone replacement therapy. I believe getting cholesterol back in my diet has been the best things for me. I feel so much better. I feel so much balanced. And when you have depression and anxiety like I had, what's causing it? It's usually a hormonal imbalance. My testosterone numbers have to be through the roof. So I'm going to get a test eventually. Back to the earlier point, what are your cholesterol numbers? They suggest waiting till month 6 on carnivore to get those tests. Why? Because if you do it on month 2 or 3, your hormone levels are still changing, you're still losing weight, there's lots of changes in your body, and there's been a lot of really smart people that say you could test today, tomorrow, and the next day and get 3 completely different numbers for your cholesterol. You need to let that balance out. Your body needs to be in homeostasis. So I'm going to do those tests. I'm going to share them all with you. But in the meantime, I wanted to talk about this a little bit more. There's some calculators you can use, and you can see how long are you going to live till. So I did the Social Security calculator, and I was like 75 is what I would live to, something like that. And then I found this. This is really cool. I have it on my screen right now. This is the Living to 100 Life Expectancy Calculator. And so I was thinking, let's say my LDL numbers are horrible, right? So I found this calculator, Living to 100 Life Expectancy Calculator, and it asks you a whole bunch of questions. There's 40 different questions, and a couple of them are on your cholesterol. And so I figured, let me put this all in. Let me put all of these numbers in as a carnivore, and when I get to the cholesterol numbers, I'm I'm going to put the worst numbers possibly in that I could. And so I did all of that. And then I'm like, let's run this calculator before carnivore. Because that's the thing that people aren't talking about. They just say, oh, your cholesterol is bad, you're going to die. Well, what about all these other things I fixed? My goodness, what about all these other things I fixed? I'm 40 pounds lighter. I'm not snoring anymore. I have no inflammation in my body. My arthritis is gone. My mood is improved. I'm so much more productive. I'm actually exercising now. And people are like, well, you could have exercised before. In a brain fog, sick, depressed, with pain all over my body, it's kind of hard to exercise. Fat people that are horribly overweight are always told, go exercise. And I totally disagree with that. You don't need to exercise to lose weight. You need to eat properly. And then once you're not sick anymore, because when you're fat and overweight and inflamed and fatigued all the time, you're sick. It's like telling someone with the flu to go exercise. Get over the flu and then go exercise. I'm over the flu now. I exercise all the time. I never exercised before. And so you go through this calculator. It's free. Anyone here can do it. I'll leave a link in the description below. Starts out with some personal questions, and then it gets into lifestyle questions, medical questions, and family questions, and you fill all of these out. So I'm going to do that now. I'm not going to make you watch the whole thing, so I'll speed it all up here. But the first one I'm going to do is, let's put in my pre-carnivore numbers. It's going to ask me, what was my weight before carnivore? What was my level of activity, exercise? And when it asks me the cholesterol numbers, I'm going to put the best numbers in. I'm going to put everything else is going to be completely honest. How much I weighed before, I weighed much more than I do now. I'm going to put all of that in. And so let's do that now, and then we'll see what the results are. Okay, so this was my pre-carnivore answering the questions. It says I'm going to live to be 74. My pre-carnivore numbers say I'm going to live to be 74 years old. This was before I started doing carnivore. This is when I was heavier than I am now, and this is when I was exercising less, but it's with the best cholesterol numbers I could put in there. Now let's do this whole thing again. I'll fill all of this out with my post-carnivore numbers. However, let's put the worst cholesterol numbers in there. I'm going to select all of the worst numbers for cholesterol, and I'm going to say the truth. I eat meat 7 times a week. 89 years. There we go. 89 years old. Now, again, this is my post-carnivore numbers with the weight loss, the fact I'm exercising a little bit more, but I put the bad numbers in there. I put in there that I eat meat 7 times a week, red meat 7 times a week, and I also put in there that my cholesterol numbers are the worst possible options I could select in this test. And now post-carnivore, it says I'm going to live to be 89 instead of 74. Isn't that something? So I'm getting 15 more years by eating carnivore. Let's look at the hard numbers. What does that mean if your LDL is bad? How much is that really going to affect my life? And again, that's even if it's accurate. And I don't even know what my LDL numbers are now. Maybe they're going to be fine, but this is assuming that they're going to be the worst they can possibly be. I'm only going to live till 89. And pre-carnivore, I was only going to live to 74. So just by going carnivore, I've already gained 15 years. Now, if you would have told me, hey, Kerry, you're going to go on carnivore, but it's going to take 10 years off of your life, you would have lived till, let's say, 84, but now you're only going to live till 74. In a heartbeat, I'll do it. Take those 10 years. If it means the rest of my life, the next 30 years or so, I'm going to be able to live a great, happy life, not being sick and fatigued and all those things, I would have done it. There's a lot of evidence coming out. This calculator, whatever, it could be right, it could be wrong. There's a lot of evidence coming out. Go check out Dr. Philip Ovadia. He's a heart surgeon. He's a carnivore himself.
Dr. Philip Ovadia,
the world-renowned heart doctor,
has conducted over 3,000 heart surgeries.
His book, Stay Off My Operating Table,
fighting to make America healthy again.
People who are doing a carnivore diet and eating all, or at least primarily, animal proteins, they usually don't require supplementation, and they are thriving on long-term carnivore diets.
His statement on the whole subject was, could LDL being bad relate to heart disease? Yes, it's possible. However, there's so many new studies out there, and he's referenced one of these. It was the Women's Health Initiative, I think it was, they did in 2022. It was a study they did, and they looked at it, and they said, this study that he looked at said if your LDL is elevated, your odds of getting heart disease are increased by 1.4. However, if you have poor metabolic health and problems with insulin resistance, if your metabolic health is out of whack, you're 6 times more likely. There's so much evidence coming out right now that sugar and having poor metabolic health is way, way worse for your odds of getting heart disease than having an elevated LDL. But nobody's talking about that. Every person you talk to comments on YouTube and comments in real life, it's what's your LDL? No one even knows about this other research. Carnivore is not killing me, it's gonna make me live longer. And if it does kill me, then so be it. I would rather live a fulfilling life with energy and motivation and no depression and happiness than what I was living before in a brain fog, in fatigue, arthritis, sickness all the time. I could barely get out of bed before. That wasn't a life. Carnivore's been amazing for me. And my daughter, Lily, I've talked about her before. She cured her HS with carnivore diet. My daughter, Emma, was a vegan for 5 years, and she's on day 35 now of being a carnivore, and she is just thriving. Her face is clearing up. Her energy's back. She was so fatigued as a vegan before. She's thriving as a carnivore. And I've been hearing so many stories from other people. They're like, I saw your 30-day video, and I'm doing amazing. I'm doing so much better. So I'm in it for the long run. I vowed on my last video, I'm never gonna have a single grain of sugar again in my entire life. I'm never gonna have processed food or junk or carbs again, ever again. I'm carnivore forever. Emma's committed to, she hit her 30-day mark. That's all she was gonna do. And on 30 days, she said, I'm gonna give it another 30 days. She feels too good. Her face is clearing up. Her energy's there. 30-day increments are what seem to be good for a lot of people. So I'm not trying to sell you on carnivore diet. Everybody's different. Some people do fine on ketogenic, ketovore, those things. You do you. My biggest advice, do your research. There's so much free information out there. Watch Dr. Berry's Carnivore Mistakes video, and he's got another one called Carnivore 101. If you're thinking about starting keto or carnivore, there's some amazing tips in there. They're gonna save you so much grief. Too many people jump into carnivore like, I'm just gonna go eat some meat. That's not carnivore. You have to get electrolytes and water, and there's certain things you have to do to avoid the keto flu and set yourself up for success. You gotta eat certain types of fatty meat. There's certain things that you have to do on carnivore. Do your research before you become the captain of your own ship and you take control of your life again. You gotta know how to operate the ship and how to navigate the ship and how to avoid the storms and the hurricanes that are out there. Thanks a lot for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video. I think you're gonna love this video up in the corner. This was my 30-day update. Talks all about carnivore, talks about why I got started, and there's testimonials from really smart people in there, like Dr. Jordan Peterson, Dr. Philip Ovadia, people that have done carnivore for years and are thriving. So do your research. Consider watching this video next. Thanks a lot for watching.